Test.
Yes, I can hear you. How can you hear me good?
Say it again.
I got a new microphone.
Yay!
It is so good. So my headphones, which are Aspen's headphones, because these ones are broken. So now my next purchase is going to be a pair of headphones that plug in, because these are plugged into the mic, so I can hear myself and you.
Oh.
So it's like a mic check to make sure that I sound okay. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I wonder if this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
So
it sounds really good. Way better.
yeah, but I feel like I can hear everything.
What do you
Like
mean?
this would be a mic that you can use for like ghost hunting. It's like Lala was like walking somewhere in the yard and I could hear her footsteps in the mic. And like the neighbors were getting into their car like over yonder, and I could hear their conversation getting in, and their radio in their car.
All right. So today's a new day. Technical difficulties really kick us in the ass.
Hopefully I don't glitch out.
If I do, text me, because sometimes we don't catch it until,
It's too late.
yeah, and we're just like, hello, hello, hello. So if one of us freeze, then we'll just please go away.
You're freezing already.
I am?
Glitching. I'll say glitching.
No.
Every once in a while, like not your audio, but your picture will glitch. But hey, we look good today. Look at us outside. In
It's
natural
the
light.
sun. Yeah, it's the natural lighting and the feeling of warmth on my skin.
Yeah, vitamin D just like hitting us right in the face. It's great.
What episode number is this? 43?
43.
Welcome to episode 43. Coming at you on my birthday.
Yeah, this is your birthday episode.
I'm 30 when you hear this.
Number
You're listening to a
30.
29-year-old voice. And the next time you hear us will be when I'm 30.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Old ass.
No kidding. My ass is old. It has cottage cheese.
Isn't that the worst?
It really is. I mean, everyone has it, so I get it, but it's upsetting either way.
Yeah.
But on deck at dusk people are gonna hear this probably tomorrow, right? They don't hear it till May.
May 1st.
First.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, here.
31.1. No, 30.1.
This is my puppy. Well, this is Josh's puppy.
I keep wanting to call him Chris.
His name is Tucker, and he's a pain in the ass, really.
So cute.
But he's so sweet. Look at his face. Aww. But he eats everything, and he poops in the house.
He looks like he has so much personality.
He does.
Just wants to love and play.
But he is probably the dumbest. No, he's not dumb. He just short circuits every so often, and he like starts walking in circles and like doing little hops, and it's like, are you okay? What happened? Your brain stopped working.
He's so cute.
He's a
I can't wait to meet him.
Airedale Terrier poodle mix. So he's called an Airdoodle. And so Josh did a lot of research. I did a lot of research, and Airedales are really smart, sweet dogs. Poodles are good family dogs, but we've learned with talking to people instead of just online research, we talked to some people. Stop eating me. And yeah, he's gonna be a pain in the ass to train. And he's one of those who has selective hearing, and if he gets out without a leash, getting him back is gonna be a pain in the butt, because he just like, he's one of those that'll run away from you.
Yeah, you just gotta teach him like the recall thing.
Yeah, so training has to start. Well, we've already started, but like when it comes to if we ever want him to be off of a leash,
yeah,
and just walk with us, we're gonna have to really get going on that. We're gonna
You know,
hire
I
a
have
trainer,
a
I think.
yeah, you might have to. I have a neighbor who has a little like Australian Shepherd puppy,
Mm-hmm.
and when it was a tiny puppy, like your puppy, like I remember we would walk by or drive the golf cart by, and he would just have his puppy like sit with him in the front yard,
Mm-hmm.
and like they
Don't.
just did that every single day as they just sat in the front yard, and
Aw.
like if he even tried to sniff the sidewalk, he'd be called right back. So like, and even now the puppy's a big dog. Like we'll drive by and it'll just be sitting in the yard, and it's like
Yeah, and
that's
that's the
maybe what we
goal.
should have done.
Yeah, that's our goal is like we're hoping that we can like keep him from getting distracted,
Yeah,
when
right.
things people, other dogs come by.
Oh
We've
yeah, that's important.
we took him to meet our mom's dog,
Oh yeah,
and
how was that?
Angel was just kind of scared of him. I think just because he's bigger than she
Yeah.
is. And
Angel's a
then
little Shih Tzu Yorkie? No,
yeah,
no, no. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we took him and just happened to have him meet Jordan and Corey's dog, Reginald.
Oh
And
yeah.
Reginald was trying to be big and tough and just barked at him the whole time. And he just like
Oh.
was scared of it. He was scared of him. So yeah.
Oh. He's
Oh.
so cute.
But you get to meet him on my birthday. So
Cannot wait.
he's a part of the party. I'm just gonna eat my
Oh,
blanket. This blanket's
oh,
trashed.
he's
There's
so
holes and pom poms on it, so he just eats them.
cute.
Okay. Anyways,
How's he doing with potty training?
not terrible, but we've been pretty good about letting him out twice at night. The hard part is like we haven't figured out a way for him to tell us he needs to go outside because we've just been taking him outside every like 30 to 40 minutes. And then like we get excited if he goes to the bathroom outside, but it's hard for him. Like he hasn't learned to tell us he needs to go
Yeah,
outside.
the communication part. What does
Yeah.
Cooper do?
Cooper just tells us he needs to go out. I mean, he just like will like look at you and then like whimper and then you're like, okay, you need to go outside. So that's how Cooper does it.
Oh.
But then also like he I don't know. We just haven't figured it. I mean, we've only had him for 5 days, so he'll
Yeah,
learn it.
I mean, yeah, you guys will. I mean, you guys together, human and dog, will figure it out.
Both of our peanut brains put into one whole peanut.
Right.
But yeah,
Exactly.
we'll figure it out. It's just puppies are hard. Yeah. But a funny thing is though, is that so Josh is the one that taught him like the sit, lay down, shake, those things within the
Mm-hmm.
first couple days that we had him. And
It's only been 5 days, and he's already taught him those things.
uh-huh.
Wow.
He learned him in the first 2 days. He learned how to use the stairs. It took him 4 days to use my stairs.
Oh.
He's tall enough. He just didn't know how to use his long legs. But um anyway, so Josh went to work obviously all week and then Tucker was home with me. So I was working with him on the tricks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now he won't listen to a word Josh says until he uses a high-pitched voice because it like matches mine and it made me laugh so hard. I died.
You should
And
take a video of
I know,
Josh having to use his high pitched voice.
I will and I'll share it because it's so funny. And then Josh is like all pissed off and he's like, let's take him back. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Because this is supposed to be Josh's dog, and
Yeah.
he loves me more already. But I'm like, I'm with him all day, so
That's right. That's nature.
that's just what happens. I'm his mom.
Yeah.
It's just what happens.
Exactly.
But Aspen's party was dope.
Wasn't it so fun?
Yes, it was
It was
so
so
fun.
fun. So, guys, it was last night. Aspen turned 9 yesterday, and we had a glow party in our garage. And it was so
Hmm.
fun because I blacked out all the windows, put up black lights, and hung like black sheets and stuff, and hung up neon things, had a disco ball. And then we put a projector up with Spotify lyrics.
Hmm.
It was just so fun.
It was so fun. It was like a little rave. I was telling Katie. It was like the rave I'll
Yeah.
never go to.
Right,
You know?
exactly. Like
And,
the rave that we were never willing to go to.
yeah, now this is the only way we get to experience. Katie had these like paint markers, like body
Oh,
paint
yeah.
markers that
Yep.
glow, and I was like, this is so fun. I couldn't stop drawing on myself. It was so fun.
Yeah. And all the kids just kept drawing on themselves too. And I'm like, you keep doing it. And one of the kids, which is one of our nieces, she had a completely pink face.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And then her parents sent us a picture of the bathwater after, and it was like tinted pink.
Yeah, oh my gosh. But it washed off so easy. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. It did wash off easy. I'll have to like, if anybody's interested, I can tell you what it was.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it glowed really good. The darker colors didn't, but like the orange, yellow, and pink, I think were pretty
Yeah.
vibrant, I thought.
Right. Right. Like think like highlighter colors, like the ones that you would think would be more reflective were.
Yeah.
Oh, and foosball, which Luke told me that was his favorite part of the party was playing foosball
With all
with
the
all the
kids.
kids.
Oh, fun. I'm glad you guys
So,
have that because that used to be our parents and it never got used. And so now
right.
it's
It's used all
being
the
used.
time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's used so much that we have to like go through and like tighten the bolts every once in a while because the kids like really get into it and like
Yeah.
loosen it up. So,
That's funny.
anyway, it gets used quite a bit.
Yeah, that was such a fun party. One to try to beat for sure, I think.
Oh boy.
But
Anyway,
anyways,
ready for episode 43?
yeah. Yeah. Um,
Okay, let's get hyped.
let's do it. Okay.
Let's like what's okay. High School Musical. Do you remember when Sharpay and what's his face were like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get my notes up. Hold on, sorry a sec. Mess
Well,
of
welcome
stuff.
everybody to episode 43 of Haunt and Cult.
We are your hosts.
Oh, yeah. We are your hosts.
April.
I'm Katie.
Mm.
And we're sisters.
Yep.
We talk about paranormal and true crime stories that are based in Utah.
Yep. I hope you like it. If you live here, great. If you don't, come here and see what we're talking about.
Yeah. People who are longtime listeners, I'm so sorry that we haven't been on schedule the way we normally have. So if you've been paying attention and you're like, wait a minute, they didn't release an episode here, they didn't release an episode there, I am sorry, okay? Getting back on track. So we released an episode today. We're going to release an episode in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. It's going to be great.
Be normal again.
Mm-hmm. We're going to do our best.
All right, tell us a story, April.
Okay, and I may pronounce things wrong, so sorry about it. But, I don't know. I don't know how things are supposed to go. So, on Friday, February 6th, why did I say February? That's not even remotely close to what I was supposed to say. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, let me take a drink. I feel like I'm like
the wrong ones.
I can't even read. So maybe quenching my thirst will improve. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try again.
Sorry. Okay. On Friday, April 16th, 1999, it was a spring day in downtown Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City was hosting an annual genealogical conference with roughly 2,700 people at the 5-story LDS Family History Library. Heard of it?
Oh.
Well, apparently it's like the world's largest genealogical library in the world. So, nerds. There were people that lived before us. Woo.
Why does it matter?
I don't know. People just want to know who they came from and why.
Okay. I guess I just had never been that person.
Like, I think, like, we did the DNA test thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of cool to see, like, what traits you have from what countries and whatever. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's not something that, like, I'm, like, spending my time researching and doing. But, like, the LDS members are
Mm-hmm.
pretty into it. It's like a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
mostly for, if just for educational reasons. The reason they're doing this family history is because they need names for people, like people to do baptisms for, because they baptize people who have died already.
Mm-hmm.
And in case they want to accept the baptism in heaven, then they can go to heaven. I don't know.
Yeah.
And if they choose not to, then they're just basically what, in purgatory or whatever. I don't know.
That's what
I don't
they
know.
think.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But
It
anyways, so
never
that's
made
what
sense to me, so I just stopped paying attention. I'm just like,
but that's basically what it's for, like why people like it in the LDS
so
church.
was it an LDS conference or was it a genealogy conference that was just heavily the members and people that came were mainly LDS?
Um, it was made up of members and non-members. I don't know if it was like organized by the church or if it was just I don't know, but it was held at the LDS building, so I assume so. But it did have members and non-members that were doing research there for their families.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, cool.
so around 10:30 a.m., 70-year-old Sergei Barbarin, he took his usual walk wearing his long coat, baggy pants, and a hat. He wasn't a kind man by any means and often insulted people he walked past, all in Russian.
Oh.
Um, then he entered the LDS Family History Library, which is west of Temple Square. Barbarian walked in and on the first floor of the library and up to a woman sitting at the front desk and shot her in the head. Yes.
What?
He reloaded his handgun and shot two more women, one 80 years old in the face, but she did survive. Just, and another woman in the shoulder. She was 45.
Wow.
And a nearby
Yeah.
man was also wounded. A visitor of the library named Ginger France said, quote, "It was after about four or five shots. Somebody yelled out, 'Get under the table.' A man's voice told us to put the chairs down over us." There were 17 visitors in the library. 17 visitors to the library barricaded themselves on the second floor as the gunman was making his way through the library. They were there for roughly 2 hours, praying with one another and hoping that the gunman didn't find them. The LDS Church security officers immediately began moving visitors under the tables and into rooms to hide from the gunman. A woman named Margaret Kane from Olympia, Washington was there with the conference, and she said, quote, "He just came in and started shooting people. He went toward the classroom with glass partitions and shot a gentleman. Then he shot through the windows into the research area. I was praying that he didn't come in the door and start shooting at those under the tables. You have no place to go." She also said that he wasn't yelling or anything. You could just wonder what was wrong, what initiated all of this. He was just wandering, muttering to himself. Obviously, he was not a well man.
Wow.
Um,
That's crazy.
yeah, so Sergei was firing randomly and walked toward classrooms with glass windows, shot them out. And when he was doing this, he ended up shooting and killing security guard named Donald Thomas, who was 62. A couple named Fran and Tom Wilson from Bloomfield, Michigan, were on the first floor when the shooting began. Fran, the wife, said, quote, I was in the ladies' room and heard gunshots. A lady came running in and said, everybody who's in here, stay in here. A man just followed me in the main lobby and he's shooting. There were gunshots. My husband was in the main lobby and he saw the gunman and he helped people get down and get out. Finally, the gunshots stopped and we got out and there was a body lying in front of the door to the library. Just outside the library was a group of 95 fourth grade students on a field trip.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
They heard the gunshots and the teachers called the police and their principal on a cell phone. Luckily, they escaped without harm. So that's all good, but I'm sure it was traumatizing and scary.
Yeah.
Police
and
were
how
called.
scary for those teachers. It's like, what's protocol? You know,
Right? What do you do? So
like
I
you're
mean,
in an unfamiliar place.
yeah, and you're just like, let's take all these little fourth graders. What? That's Luke, right? Fourth grade?
Yeah.
10 years old.
Yep.
95 10-year-olds. That'd be so scary. Oh my gosh. At least
That
they
would
were
be so
inside the
scary.
building.
True. And thankfully they didn't like witness anything horrific.
Yeah,
You know?
like I'm very glad they weren't like in the library and they weren't like having to barricade themselves. But
Yeah.
oh my
Right.
gosh, but nowadays it's just a normal thing to have to experience that at a freaking school. So
Yeah, like my kids had to do a soft lockdown the other day, but it's because some kid was walking by the school with an airsoft gun and somebody called it in to the police saying he has a
oh my
gun.
gosh, were you kids freaked out?
No, I guess a soft lockdown is where like they don't tell the kids anything and like they still go from room to room, but they lock the outside doors. They just
Are the
can't go
outside doors
outside.
not locked anyway?
Like they can't go out to like recess and stuff,
Oh, I
you
see.
know.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, I'm glad
crazy.
someone called it in because you never know.
Yeah,
But
you never know.
oh, that's so scary. I freaking
Yeah.
hate this world sometimes.
I know. It
Um,
sucks that we have to like keep our heads on swivels, you know.
right.
Ugh.
And
Like
those
no
poor
wonder why
teachers
everybody has anxiety is because like we're taught to never trust anything.
don't trust anyone, always expect bad things to happen. Like,
Yeah, or at least like be prepared for the worst, you know.
yeah, because otherwise, like, yeah. But
You're
even
SOL.
still, yeah. So obviously the police were called to the building and including the special weapons and tactical teams like SWAT. They began evacuating much of the downtown area because it was it was unknown how large the situation was, like if there was a second shooter or if there was like I guess at one point they thought maybe there was a bomb in a car that was
Oh,
linked to the situation. That ended up not being the case, but you know, it kind of like
yeah.
they weren't sure how big
Mhm.
this situation was going to be and if it was like targeting multiple LDS buildings, you know, like they
Yeah.
had to
Right.
basically tell everyone like to evacuate from other LDS buildings as well.
Wow. Scary.
Um, the shooting lasting roughly an hour after the first police officers arrived. The Baron was firing from the building and SWAT was shooting from outside to the building. So like SWAT was outside, he was inside, and they were just shooting at each other. Um, in this situation with the shots fired, one officer did suffer a minor gunshot wound, but that was it for the officer wounds. SWAT was able to take down the gunman, and Babarin died from his injuries in the ambulance. But from what I was reading, they knew they shot him down, and they waited 45 minutes to go inside and retrieve him. But he was pronounced dead in the ambulance, so I'm sure he passed inside.
Why did they wait 45 minutes?
I think they were trying to clear the possibility of there being a second gunman. They weren't sure what was going on. So I think it was just kind of like they were clearing the area and they got to him when he got to him type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But all in all, that made 3 total dead. His victims were Donald Thomas, 62, and Patricia Frangs, 55, and him being the third death. And then a total of 5 were wounded by his hand. Which
My
it
goodness.
sounded like there was more because he just was firing all over the place, but luckily, there were more injuries or deaths. Mayor Didi Corandini at the time, she said Mr. Barbarin used a 22 caliber handgun and had schizophrenia and had not been taking his medication. Police reported that Barbarin was arrested 4 years prior after he punched a 73-year-old man in a department store restroom and tried to bite him in the face. He was carrying the 22 caliber pistol at the time as well, but was not charged with a weapons offense. It wasn't the same 22 that he used or that he had on him in that incident, because the police like said, well, you're not like charged with a weapon thing, but we're gonna destroy your pistol. So they destroyed it and he went and got another one.
Did he obtain it legally?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I was gonna say, like,
I don't
he's
think it was
charged with
registered.
assault, like, no one who's been charged with assault should ever be allowed to get a weapon.
Yeah, but also he had paranoid schizophrenia. So
Yeah.
at that point he shouldn't have one either, but I don't think he got it legally. But in the 90s, I'm not sure how the laws were, but I think you could do private sales. So he like I
Like
don't
pawn
like
shops or
you
something?
should be registering it, but like if he could have bought it from like someone like I guess on KSL or on
like a
like
copy.
Craigslist or something.
Mm.
So like a private between people type of thing, not through a company.
Right.
So obviously this topic is still relevant 24 years later. Guns and the mentally ill are not a great mix. And this woman named Vicky Cottrell, I don't know. She's the executive director of the Utah chapter of the National Alliance for Mentally Ill. It's a nonprofit advocacy group. And she said, quote, "All I'm hearing today is how we need to keep guns away from the mentally ill. Well, how about getting the medication to the mentally ill?" Which is a huge thing because obviously if he was taking his medication, he would have been fine. And likely this wouldn't have happened.
Right. But also, do we know the reasoning behind him not taking medication? Was it that he was going unmedicated? Like,
it was that
on
he
purpose?
didn't trust his doctors because he has paranoid schizophrenia. So he thought his doctors were spies. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I see what she and everybody's saying. I just, at the end of the day, though, it's like, at what, it just makes you wonder, like, did he ever have the choice to get help and decided not to,
Yeah. Well, I mean, so, and I'll get to it, but his son was trying to, oh, it's actually right here. So his son Alex was begging his doctors for help with his father, but was told state laws limited involuntary commitment to people who posed imminent dangers. So he was trying to get him like committed to a mental hospital and to get treatment, like forced treatment against his will. But they were like, if he hasn't threatened anybody or actually hurt anyone or hurt himself, then we can't take him. And which I'll get to more information about that, but it's like they have these rules that you have to be like basically actually hurting someone before they commit you. At the time in the 90s. I don't know really how it is now.
I would just think that if someone purchases a gun under the table or illegally or steals a gun or whatever, I feel like that is enough criteria, you know?
Right. Yeah, he
So it's like,
has a
why
gun.
would he need a gun, you know?
Right. Right.
Like, okay, self-defense, sure, but like, that's
I
just
know.
so tough.
It's such a hard line to like define because
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, he should have the right to protect himself, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But he is dangerous because he's in
Paranoid.
this, yeah, he's paranoid and he's not getting treatment. But like,
Mm-hmm.
do you call the police and say, okay, stop taking his medication now, come get the gun? Or is that his property? And where does that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
it's
Like
kind
you
of
don't
a,
want to take their rights away because that'd probably worsen their paranoia, you know?
right. Yeah.
But
So it's
also like,
like, what, I don't know. And it was a 22 handgun. It wasn't like an automatic, like, weapon. It wasn't like the machine guns or whatever they're called.
yeah,
Um,
but still.
I know. So it's
Even a
like,
knife, I'm just like, oh, maybe don't.
yeah, it's like butter knives only, you know,
Yeah, right.
um,
Right.
and sporks, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so his son Alex told the Deseret News, quote, "It's an unreasonable liberty with people who need help. You must be more preventative because one mentally ill person can damage so many lives, not because he intends to, but because he can't help it." Um, so a little bit about Sergei Barbarin. He was a toolmaker who emigrated to New York in 1981 from Russia. Um, so over the last 12 years before this event, Sergey had gradually become ill with paranoid schizophrenia. His father, or sorry, he also became depressed after emigrating to New York and said people didn't appreciate him and his work.
Mm, that's sad.
Um, so then their family moved from New York to Salt Lake City in 1989, and Sergey was unable to work. He really enjoyed Salt Lake City compared to New York because it was so clean and pretty in comparison. To pass the time, because he was unable to work, he developed a habit taking long walks in the city frequently. Several years previous to this event, during some of his walks, Sergey was assaulted and robbed 3 separate times, which is why he bought the gun for protection. It was believed that his inability to speak English also aggravated his mental state. The manager at his apartment building said, quote, "Some people misunderstood him and he would get angry. He would frown, stomp his feet, and get in the elevator." And I guess he also was like really disturbed that women were sitting in the lobby. He didn't understand why they were there and it like freaked him out. And I don't
Oh,
know, he just got really mad about it.
that's so
Um,
strange.
I
Maybe
know.
that triggered him.
Yeah. And
Huh.
just before this tragedy happened, he believed that his son was a spy for the CIA, but not just his son, but also his wife Zoya and anyone who would walk past his windows. He would talk to himself and say that they were spies and like yell at them and say weird things. He even attacked a bicyclist by calling him a spy and sticking his umbrella in the wheels and causing him to crash.
Oh my gosh.
So he was like riding his bike by and he thought he was a spy, so he stuck his umbrella in the wheel.
That's crazy.
Like, as one of Babarin's neighbors said that in the senior citizen apartment complex that they lived in, he would often say, "Hail Hitler," and "I hate
Oh
America."
no.
He would also say Hitler was right to
What?
people. Yes.
Oh
He just
no.
lost his damn mind.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, so this is 1999 and he was 80 years old,
He's 70,
70 years old. So that makes him born in
1920s.
1929. So he was like in his 20s at the end of World War II, right?
So he could have been a
Or
soldier.
teenager at the end of World War II. It was 1929, so 1939 was World War II ish. And he was like 10.
Probably not a soldier, but growing
Not a
up in that
soldier,
time.
yeah, like a young
Yeah.
boy.
So he could have some prejudice that
Yeah.
we don't align with. Possible. But he had stopped taking his medication for paranoid schizophrenia, as we've said, and because he was suspicious of everyone, especially his doctors. Paranoid schizophrenia includes symptoms of delusions and hallucinations. These debilitating symptoms blur the line between what is real and what isn't, making it difficult for the person to lead a typical life. The medication definitely makes it possible for them to lead a normal, healthy life. They just have to be conscious of, those hallucinations and adjusting medication when they need to.
Oh, how hard would that be? It's like knowing what's real and what's not.
No kidding. Oh my gosh. Alex Babarin, his son, is blaming the mental health system. He said, "I'm very unhappy about the situation with the mental health system. I'm 100% putting the responsibility on them because they're not willing to help. I'm sure if he had been a few weeks in a hospital, he would have been well." And then obviously the police had to break the news to his wife, Zoya, and she said that he was acting fairly normal. He was talking about exercising and losing weight, and he just went out for his walk. Like, it was just a normal day, and he went out for his normal walk. Which is, I feel like, really hard as a partner without it too, because it's like, how do you know if they're hearing things but just not like telling you? Because like you could have visual hallucinations, but you could also have like what audio hallucinations, is that what it's called? Is it, how can you know unless they say something? So,
right, or
and
unless you like really see them in an episode, but it's like, I don't know. And like, what if they're really good at hiding it?
right. Yeah. Or what if they're like, they hear it, but they just think it's their thoughts, but it's actually, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I one time had to look up, am I schizophrenic or is that just my own thoughts? like crazy. Like, you know? It's just me. So yeah.
Was it your own voice? I don't know. What are the signs?
Well, because you know how like I think what it was TikTok made me think it, because it was like one of those things where it's like some people don't hear a narrator's voice when they think. They see words or something. I don't remember exactly what the details were, but when you think, do you hear your own voice like narrating your thoughts?
I don't hear anything.
What happens?
I don't know how to explain it. It's like I don't hear it like it's an actual sound.
Well, yeah, no. But like, do you think a sound? Imagining your voice? Like, do you imagine your voice thinking your thoughts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like,
Or
am
it's
I
like
supposed to hear it?
you're like, what should we have for lunch today? Like you hear that, not really hear it, but you imagine your voice saying that out loud in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. One time I saw a TikTok where it said that some people do that and another half or part of people like don't.
So yeah, they broke the news to his wife Zoya, and she said he was acting normal. And then police also mentioned that they had no idea why he chose to target the LDS Family History Library. His wife didn't know he held any animosity towards the church, and they said, quote, "We're trying to see if we can piece that together, but we don't know and we may never know." I did see something, but I wasn't sure if it was there wasn't a lot of information, but someone said that worked at the library, they said that the day before they did remember an elderly man who was angry about something and then left upset. But they weren't sure if it was him, so I wasn't gonna mention it, but it's possible that like he went there, he tried to do something, figure something out, and they didn't understand him. And then he thought maybe that they were also spies and then went and decided to take care of the spies, you know?
Like maybe they're trying to keep information from him.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then he probably thought that he was doing something right, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just so sad. What a scary headspace to be in, to think that you know what's going on and the rest of the world has a different reality. Okay, so Mary like Zandowicz. I don't know if that's it's spelled all crazy, but we're gonna move on. She's from the Treatment Advocacy Center in Arlington, Virginia. She said, the Barbarian tragedy points to a need for changing state law to make it easier to commit a person for treatment. She said, quote, Utah law basically means that we Utah law basically means that we wait until they have a gun to the head before we do anything. Mandatory treatment for those too ill to recognize their need for treatment is a much more humane intervention than what we have now, mandatory non-treatment. So true. Utah has the highest rate of mental illness in the US according to a 2022 study by NICE RX. It discovered that almost 30% of adults in Utah suffer from mental health problems. And that's obviously not including the astronomical number of teen mental health issues, but we're talking about adults.
That are going undiagnosed.
Right. And it's the highest percentage in the US, right? Mental illness can be acute or chronic and are diagnosable conditions that affect an individual's emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and often their behavior, said the experts at Kaiser Family Foundation, also known as KFF. They said, quote, these conditions include depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and mood or personality disorders, among others. Suicide still remains one of the leading causes of death in the US, according to the National Institute of Mental Health.
The leading cause of death?
Whoa. Leading cause of death in the US. The National Institute of Mental Health officials have named suicide a serious public health concern and have seen suicidal thoughts and death rates only worsen over the past 2 years since the pandemic. I feel like since the pandemic, more people have started getting help, which has made the ability to get a therapist difficult. I have been trying to get a therapist since December, and I've been on a waiting list, 2 separate waiting lists for 4 months. And so there's not enough mental health professionals to take care of the people. And I don't have a diagnosis, but everyone needs therapy, but there's just not enough therapists to go around. So that's also kind of an issue, I think, that we just don't have the resources, professional resources anyways. I'll just end with this. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide or mental health issues, call the suicide prevention hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. There's also a really interesting website called National Alliance on Mental Health Illness. Cut. Okay.
Take 2.
It's called National Alliance on Mental Illness, Utah. They have free resources for online support groups for those struggling with mental health and also family members that have someone struggling with mental health. They also have free online health seminars about to educate families and friends about diagnosis, treatment, recovery, and crisis prevention. And then they also have mentors that provide those living with mental illness and their families a peer who can listen, empathize, and connect them to valuable education, support programs, and other resources. So you can find them at namiut.org, or call at 801 323 9900. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. And that's for Utah. But there's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-TALK. So
It's just
anyway. What?
you know how like we were just talking about, or you were kind of discussing about how it needs to be easier to like admit people into a mental health facility, and how it needs to not be like I think you said, someone said like gun to the head before they get help or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it would be kind of an interesting approach is what if you could like send like mental health missionaries, where they come to the, like you like send in like a request, like this person needs help, and like you give them like their address, and then like these like mental health people will just show up and be like, someone said that you could use some mental health guidance.
Well,
And
actually,
like show up, just like literally just show up and be like, do you want to have a
like
chat like right now?
like home visits for
Yeah.
crisis. So
Right.
they've actually talked about with the all of the political stuff about defunding the police and all that. They've talked about in certain situations it may be better to not send police but to send trained health professionals to like situations that don't involve weapons. So like for example, if there's like I don't remember if this was in Utah or somewhere close by, but it was this 14-year-old autistic boy was having a episode in public, and like the parents couldn't get him to calm down, and someone called the police, and he ended up getting hurt by the police because they couldn't figure out how to do this without violence.
Oh, I remember this because they like tried to restrain him or something.
Yeah, and he's 14. Yeah, he's 14 years old. Instead of calling police in this situation, because he was a 14-year-old boy, he wasn't armed. They could have instead maybe sent a trained health professional, mental health professional to de-escalate. That's okay. To like de-escalate the situation and get, and help him instead of hurting him because he's scared and he's, you know,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Hey, can you go inside, please? I'm doing something. Billy, stop wagging your tail against the table. Go. Sorry.
That's okay. But yeah, so I think that's honestly a really intriguing idea and worth trying, and maybe sending them together at first and being like, okay, you come in if I need you, but I will do this. Right. So I don't know. I think you're right. I think that would be something.
You'll see me, mommy.
Shoo. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my story.
Yeah, good story.
It was quick, but I didn't even know what happened. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either. Most of the stories that you tell, I've never heard of, like, ever. And it just makes you wonder, like, what violence happened here? Like, at each like public building, like especially in downtown Salt Lake that are like really old. It's like these staircases have seen some shit, like
Gunslinging.
Like picket, or like the picket sign slinging. I don't know, like I just
The riots and
yeah,
the
riots and
protests and the
yeah. And like people getting fired and then being like, and you, here's my middle finger. It's just like, wow, I wonder like what drama. Anyway, I have a lot going on around me. Good job on your story. Now you just get to
Thanks.
sit back, relax.
Tell me a story about ghosts and scary things.
Yeah, this one's actually pretty ghost heavy.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to come in strong after my mishaps this last month because I felt so guilty.
Make up for things.
Yeah, and I'll say too that like I wanted to go ghost heavy. So I know that there's going to be a lot of things that I don't cover as far as the history goes or whatever. So if I don't cover it, it's like go look it up. I don't know.
If you want to know more, there are resources.
Right. So I skipped a lot of history with a lot of stuff. So
Okay.
it's a ghost story. All right.
I'm here for it.
I'm covering the Utah State Capitol building and Memory Grove Park.
Ooh.
And I'll say that a lot of people have covered or wrote articles like podcast episodes or wrote articles about or even YouTube videos about Memory Grove Park, but I have hardly seen anything about the Utah State Capitol. So I wanted to like lump them into one because they're kind of in the same spot.
Okay. Sweet.
Okay.
Same landish.
Yeah, like same, like there's the Capitol building and then there's Memory Grove Park, like right behind it. Like it's its backyard. It's really close.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm
like I
ready.
think there's an actual like little staircase that goes like from the park to the Capitol building.
Oh, okay.
Like you can go like down to the park during like your lunch break or something. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to start my story with the Utah State Capitol building.
Okay.
So the Capitol building sits like a castle on top of a hill. This hill is called Capitol Hill
No.
in downtown Salt Lake City, right? The front of the building faces south and it sits directly in line with State Street and basically overlooks all of downtown Salt Lake. So it really does have like a really pretty view.
It
So
does.
if you're wanting to get some cool pictures as you're coming into town, that's a good spot to go.
Also, they have really pretty cherry blossoms in the spring.
Yeah, it's like right now, actually.
Yeah.
I'm part of, I think you're also a part of the Utah photographers group or whatever, or photography group. People are posting pictures of the cherry blossoms right now, and it's so pretty because
Ah,
they're
bad.
just starting to bloom.
Too
But
bad we
my
can't go.
allergies could never.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have really bad, like seasonal, environmental allergies.
That sucks.
Okay, so where am I? Oh, but I was gonna say too, it is fun driving, like when you're driving in downtown Salt Lake, when you get on State Street and you're driving north, it's really cool being able to see the Capitol building like up on the hill. Like it's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it is.
So
It's a really pretty building. We had prom there.
yeah, we did. And I'll get somebody has a story about a dance at prom.
Oh,
Something kind of creepy that happened. So
okay.
where am I? So construction of the Capitol building started back in December of 1912. A man named Richard Cletting was chosen to be the architect for the job. And the building is around 320,000 square feet. And it's about, I saw in some places it's 4 stories high, and I saw in some places it's 5 stories high. So I don't know. Exactly. I haven't taken a tour since I was in like the 3rd grade.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me.
And after that, it was prom or something. And then after that, I think I did like a photography session there.
Oh, yeah. Outside though, right? Oh, you did Heather's inside.
Yeah, Heather's I did at Memory. Yeah, I did. Yep. Heather's I did at both Memory Grove Park and the Capitol building.
Well, we should see if there are ghosts in the background for
Ooh,
bridals.
we should. We should. Probably not though.
Probably not. That'd be cool.
I don't have the originals because that was like what 15 years ago.
10.
10. So, yeah, I think it's 4 stories high. Is where I left off. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, the Capital Commission made it a point to try and use local only materials for the building. So the building is mainly made of granite from the nearby Little Cottonwood Canyon and marble from who really knows where, Utah County. And then
Who really knows where?
the building was also supplemented with concrete.
Cool.
Yeah, it just said Utah County, but I'm like where though? You know, that's like
Pretty big county.
Yeah, I hate when people say Tooele County. 'Cause it's just like, do you realize that Tooele County is such as big as Salt Lake County?
Yeah.
You know,
They
like
just
it's
probably really mean Tooele.
right. Anyway, and it's like if you say Utah County, it's like, do you mean Provo?
Or American Fork, or Lehigh, or Springville, or Payson.
Mm-hmm. Or Saratoga Springs?
Yeah.
Or even Eagle Mountain, I think is considered Utah County, isn't it?
I think so. And then at some point it goes into Twilla, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Rush Valley is where it starts to be Twilla, which is past Eagle Mountain. Anyway, marble from Utah County. And then the building was also supplemented with concrete. So it's like whenever they didn't build with those fancy stone pieces, they just made it with concrete. Like I'm pretty sure like the steps are made with concrete, like the outdoor steps, like that kind of stuff. Like the outdoor columns, and that's concrete.
Oh, okay.
But indoor is where all the marble is and granite.
Right. Yeah.
And whatnot.
It's just straight slippery in there.
Yeah, it really is though. I'm just like, imagine being like the people who have to like wax the floor. How fun though to do like a slip and slide.
Seriously, you'd slip all over that place.
It's so fun. No, but like if you've never been there, like the floor when it's like really shiny, like buffed, it's like reflective.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's so shiny. Anyway. So not everything could be made from local materials though. So the main floors, excuse me. So the main floors, the columns, the walls, and the staircases are made from marble that was imported from Georgia. So you know that main area with those like big area, and there's like that circular like piece, the chandelier, I'm pretty sure, and like the big dome. And then like there's like the 2 grand staircases on the sides, and there's columns, and like the marble is bright white with like little black specks everywhere.
Yeah.
That was imported from Georgia.
Oh, I thought it was made from Utah stuff.
I know.
Only locally owned.
I'm just like, okay, so like the heart of your building those in Georgia.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that's rememberable of the building, right?
Well, maybe we just have shit stuff. We can't use it.
I know. I'm just like, maybe our stuff just doesn't shine the same way.
I mean, I get it.
It's like wow. Feel that deeply somehow, you know.
We don't shine like the Georgians do.
Right. Oh my gosh, my new coworkers are from Georgia. Imported.
She's imported from Georgia.
Yeah. I haven't met them yet though. So maybe next time we record, I might have met them. We'll see.
Yeah, let us know if she shines brighter than the rest of us.
Yeah, seriously though, I'll just be like, I'm already nervous, so she's already shining brighter.
Yeah.
And she.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, let us know. Keep us posted.
I'm nervous. Okay, wait. Anyway, so. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I am. Oh, a lot of thought went into designing ways that natural light could come into the building. That was really important to the Capitol Commission people telling the
Mhm.
architect what they wanted. They really wanted natural light to go into the building. So even if you go in there today, not a lot of light is coming from electricity. It's all natural light until like obviously sundown, then they turn lights on.
Mm.
So it's really a photographer's dream. So that's why you see a lot of people doing photography sessions there, is because
Yeah.
a lot of what you're using is natural light. And that's just easier for photographers.
Hmm.
Um, the main reason that the Capitol Commission wanted to use natural light is because they wanted to reduce the electricity that was needed to light the building. So
Oh,
they were just thinking ahead, like, okay, we want to be able to not have to use light bulbs if we needed
yeah.
this place to be lit up.
Right.
So
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The building was added to the National Register of Historic Places in October of 1978. And in 2004, the building had major renovations done that cost around $260 million.
Hmm.
The costly project was mainly focused on adding what's called a base isolation system, which essentially makes it so that the building could withstand a 7.3 magnitude earthquake.
Oh my gosh.
Because if you don't know, Utah
Mm-hmm.
is destined to crack in half someday.
And we're all gonna die.
Yeah. You know what I think is going to happen? Yes, we are all gonna die, but here's how I think it's gonna happen. I think that we're gonna have our earthquake right down that main fault line. It's just gonna like split wide open, right? People are gonna fall in,
Mm-hmm.
and if that doesn't kill you, then I think the earthquake is gonna trigger the volcano eruption in Wyoming, in Yellowstone.
Yep.
So I think that's gonna go off, and if that doesn't kill you,
Trying to freaking survive after that.
or just yeah, trying to hunt and failing and just being like, I'm sorry, I never learned to hunt.
I'm a gatherer and
Sorry, I was
there's
a
nothing to
vegan.
gather. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's how we're gonna die.
We have a really great outlook on life, I think. It's just like we're always just like expecting death. It's great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I saw a okay, pause my story, but I saw a TikTok about how like the poles are rotating. Have you seen that? Anything about that? Oh god, okay. You haven't heard?
No, I tried to steer towards just watching the basement yard TikToks.
Oh well, okay. So basically, gosh, that dog is so annoying.
It just
Anyway,
feels like
sorry.
background noise to me, so it's not bothering me.
Okay, well, sorry, listeners, if you hear that's not my fault. Oh yeah, the TikTok video I
What
saw.
are we talking about?
So in the 70s, they were measuring the poles of the earth were like flipping like this, right?
Okay.
By 1 degree per year. But then like recently, like 2012, 15-ish or so, they found that those are actually rotating by 30 degrees per year at that point. So we're like rotating like this. And so they think, it's theorized that our poles are like gonna like flip. The earth is gonna flip. And the sun's gonna sit still for a minute. There's gonna be massive tsunamis. Like basically like it's gonna like halt the earth for a second and like imagine if the water, like in a bucket, like you stop a bucket, it goes.
Yeah.
Oceans will do that. And I'm just like, what about Noah's flood? Anyway, TikTok is just,
Well, then I'm freaking shit out of luck because I can't swim worth a damn.
ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start a garden and hope for the best.
Throw my cucumbers in the ground.
They're being watered as we speak, and I will survive.
Yeah.
I will survive on cucumbers alone.
Yeah. Anyway. So
Oh, what a
back to the
tangent we
story.
were on. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I know. If anybody just had a panic attack just now about how the world's ending, I'm so sorry.
Or they're just like, these girls are freaking idiots.
Yeah, or they're just like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're gonna die from heart disease. Just shut up.
Like everyone else, you're gonna die from heart disease or cancer. So
Or a car accident.
right.
So, in the renovations, they added what's called a seismic retrofit technology underneath the building. And what it does is separates the building base from the ground so that if an earthquake were to happen, the building won't like feel it. Does that make sense?
Oh, so it kind of like moves with it's like shocks.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Like they call them isolators, but yeah, they're like shocks. It's like
Hmm.
the building I was reading according to forel.com that during an earthquake, the Capitol building will move independently while the isolators stretch side to side up to 24 inches in any direction.
That's a lot of
That's a,
inches. That's
yeah,
two
that's a lot of
feet.
shaking. Right. So like I mean the building might go like it might like shake or whatever, but it's not gonna go like
It's not gonna
flying around
sway
like the rest of
like,
us.
yeah. Like the rest of us are like, woo,
Yeah.
woo,
Right.
woo.
I just imagine we'll be like the Who's in Horn Here's a Who.
Yeah.
We'll just be them on the clover. We'll just be like, whoa, like it's summer, now it's winter.
Yeah.
Anyway, also one thing that I found that was kind of fun, this is like off of earthquake talk, but if you want to do something fun at the Capitol, other than like maybe ghost hunting, you can go to their website and find a little scavenger hunt that they've posted where like they have these little pictures of things to find around the building, like you like learn about them.
Oh, that's cool.
So like they have statues around the building, which I didn't get into it. I could have, but I was just like,
There's a
I'm
lot,
not
I'm
a tour
sure.
guide, you guys.
Yeah. If you want to know, go.
Yeah, go to the website, do the scavenger hunt, talk to some people, do what I didn't do.
Yeah.
And learn more.
Did Luke
Um,
tell you about it? Because that's where his field trip was, right?
yeah, he only told me about how he went to detention after. So did I talk about that on here?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was on here, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll just talk about that real quick. He went to detention because he had a field trip at the Capitol building because he didn't stay with his group and he got detention for wandering off, where really he just went to the bathroom, came out, and his group like moved on, but then a new group was like right there next to the bathroom, so he just like hopped into their group.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was told that he wandered off, and so he got detention, which I was like, that's kind of strict, but
He was still with his class,
yeah.
but also the parent, I
Like
don't
he should
know.
have just told somebody that he was going to the bathroom. Is what he should have done.
Yeah.
So I just told him like just next time just communicate.
Yeah. It's
So
best tool you could ever learn.
right. Let's talk about the paranormal.
Yeah.
So one urban legend that is circulated around the Capitol staff is that back when plans are being drawn up for the construction of the building, the state held a competition for whichever architect would come up with the best plans for the new Capitol building. One architect entered into the competition, but sadly, his plans weren't chosen. The story goes that he never let it go for the rest of his life and held this grudge clear until he died. Many
Jeez.
believe that his spirit haunts the Capitol building, which I was going to look up his name, but I totally forgot. So, sorry. Employees have said that the doors will sometimes randomly be jammed or locked on their own, especially the doors and the stairways. Which I'm like,
Oh,
that's
wow.
scary. Like, you know how like you're scared to take the elevator because you're scared to be locked in the elevator.
Right.
Imagine being scared to take the stairway because you're going to be locked in the stairway.
Can you imagine being locked in a stairway though? Like, I feel like You can see all corners of an elevator.
Right.
If you're locked in a stairway that's like however many flights, you know what I mean? You can't
Right.
see who else is there.
Oh my gosh. And imagine if you have to run from somebody and they're below you, you have to run up instead of down.
That is a nightmare in itself,
Ugh.
yes.
Like, not only is that hard normally, but also like panic running upstairs.
And then they're locked. And then what do you do?
You'd have to like
Jump.
change.
Just hope for the best.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you'd have to like kick them in the face or something, like on the way down. I don't know, like some like Jason Bourne shit or something.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
like be better physically. Getting away. You know?
Yeah. You definitely would have to like fake it till you make it, you know?
Can you imagine like trying so hard to like pull off this cool move and you just like totally don't do it right?
Hey, but you know what though? You miss every shot you don't take.
Exactly. That's true.
Okay. So
Okay.
all right.
The amount of tangents in this, I'm so sorry.
I know, right? My eyes
Get
are
like
watering too. I'm like, what?
2 sentences, there's like another one. So,
Okay.
which for the people who skipped the last half of the episode, they missed some of the best parts.
Yeah, they really are missing the best. So it's just like, listen,
We
I
should
know
say
that I may not be the best researcher, but we have the best conversations.
we should
Meanwhile,
say what you're missing in the last half is not only the ghost story, which is way cooler than murder, but
yeah,
you're also missing the lighthearted part. Like,
yes,
and
vehicles.
yeah, our tangents.
Yeah,
But wait, whatever.
and
Be
they won't
stupid.
even hear this.
Maybe they get so bored with my story, they're like, I'm so sick of this, that they're like,
No, I think some people just like to listen to true crime. They're just like, I don't even believe in ghosts.
I guess you like what you like, but like they miss. I feel like the last half is the best part.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, not the best part, just
Well,
the
just the
funny.
funner part
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we
right.
get this depressing, scary, sad stuff out of the way, and then we get to have more fun. It's more
Right,
lighthearted.
exactly. Yes,
Mhm.
right. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Because I still have like another story to tell because I'm doing Utah State
Mm,
Capitol building and Memory Grove Park.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
No, it's fine.
Just talk.
Okay. Guess I had to start again
Yeah.
somewhere.
So what does it
On
say now?
it says on the Utah Haunted History Facebook page, someone on my post commented
Okay.
and said that they were at the Utah State Capitol building for a school dance one time, and they looked up at the balcony and they saw a man in a black suit. And the man was just looking down, staring at everybody. And he was just like, hmm. And then he like pointed up at his friend, like, hey, do you see that guy up there? The guy's like, oh no, I didn't see him. He's like, no, he's like right there. Do you see that guy? He's like, no, I don't see him. So like his friend didn't see the guys up there. So when the guy
Wow.
like walked away or disappeared or whatever, like went away.
Yeah.
They never saw that guy again. And so they commented that because they're like, it was just weird because he didn't seem like he was part of it. Like he wasn't like
Like
part
he
of what
was
we were doing.
out of place.
Yeah, out of place. And that my friend also didn't see him. Like did not see him.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows about that one? But it's just like,
That's
never
interesting.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, what if it was a Men in Black guy? You know?
He got some aliens and skedaddled.
Yeah, like his friend got a date and he didn't. So he's just like looking. He's like, oh man. Okay. He's probably looking down, being like, like, They're in high school, dude. Like, do you even understand like what human high school is? We're aliens. Like, anyway, weird. So, maintenance workers have said that there have been countless strange happenings around the building, especially in the crawl spaces.
Who's in the crawl spaces?
Well, I don't know.
What
But
are they doing in there?
in the crawl space above the house chamber, sometimes workers will be up there changing light bulbs or repairing something in
That's
the
what I was
ceiling.
wondering. Like, why are they just chilling in the crawl spaces? But that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Because there's like the light bulbs way up there. Instead of getting a ladder, you can just get up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so while they're doing their job, like changing a light bulb or whatever they're repairing or whatever, sometimes they'll toss like garbage or debris to the side while they're in this crawl space.
Mm-hmm.
And they've said while they're in that specific crawl space, sometimes if they toss something to the side, immediately something will toss it right back at them.
What?
Isn't that interesting? One time a
That's
maintenance
crazy.
worker was working in one of the crawl spaces and out of nowhere they became stuck. And I don't think it was the same one. I think it was a different one. But in a different crawl space, they were working and they became stuck. They said it felt like something was holding them in place, not that they were actually stuck. Like something was just holding them in place.
Okay.
Because just as quickly as they became stuck, suddenly they were able to move freely again. Like it happened and then it just released.
That is
So isn't that
scary.
creepy? That worker said that they asked other coworkers to go in that area and do whatever maintenance needs to be done because they don't really want to go back in there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of his coworkers have told him the same thing, like, no, we don't really want to go in there. And when they were interviewed by like I think it was the person doing the article that I read, when they were interviewed about that story, the coworkers were quoted saying that the guy who got stuck, after he had that experience, people became really worried about him because he began acting different.
That is terrifying.
Right? So he was being interviewed saying, oh, yeah, like I asked other people to go up there, haha, like it creeps me out. And
Mm-hmm.
then his coworkers are like, yeah, after that happened to him, like we've all been really worried because he's been very different since then. And so now they
Whoa.
don't want to go in there either. Ugh,
Oh my
creepy.
gosh. It's like, what would, I mean, the only thing I feel like that would cause a change in personality, isn't that demonic?
Yeah. Or just like, what if it just scared him so bad that like it just
Like he's just like,
different now? Like,
yeah.
like personality change just from being like traumatized.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hmm. Or like
Ugh.
discovering a new phobia,
Yeah.
I guess.
Like maybe like he's just, nervous of, because
It
I
happening
mean, it
again.
could happen anywhere,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and that's where he works, right? So,
Right.
ugh.
So now let's talk about Memory Grove Park.
Okay.
It basically sits, like I said before, in the backyard of the Capitol building.
Right.
That area that is now known as Memorial Park or Memory Grove Park, it was designated to be a city park back in 1902. And it wasn't until the 1920s that it was manicured and reconstructed to be a memorial park to honor American soldiers. The memorial house is where weddings are held and originally was constructed in 1890 and it was used as a storage shed and a stable. Then in the 1920s, it was reimagined to be a memorial park building and it was constructed to be more elegant and like ready to be like a multi-use building.
Okay. Okay.
Around the park, people have seen strange lights and people standing or walking in the corners of their eyes, but when they look, no one is there.
Oh,
So have you ever had that happen when you're like watching a movie or something and like you swear you see something like walk
Yes.
or stand
Yes.
there or like be sitting next to you and you're just like, I swear there's somebody sitting there. And like you look over and of course there's nothing there and you're like, huh, maybe it's just like a shadow
I've never
or
had
like
anything like sitting next to me, like feeling that way. It's
mm-hmm.
just like, so in our bedroom where we now have a TV is in one corner, like our bed, we're facing this way. This corner is where the TV is, and this corner is where our bedroom door is.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we're watching TV, we'll see like it feels like there's like a shadow that walks across, but we know
Like through
it's,
the hallway
yeah,
or
like either from the hallway to like the living room or
mm-hmm.
vice versa.
Yeah.
But we've been able to like pay attention enough to know that what we saw is just like the lights, like
Oh,
people in the street, that are driving.
yeah.
It's like that. But oh my gosh, the first few times we were like, oh my gosh, and then we won't sleep because,
Yeah.
we're like,
You're
what's
like,
in
I
the
swear I
hallway?
saw something. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've never
Right.
had the experience of feeling like someone's sitting next to me.
No, see this when that experience I had specifically over at the house that we lived in South Jordan.
Oh, okay,
I
that makes sense then.
remember I remember there was one time I think I was talking to our cousin Sherry about it. And that's when I was just like, okay, like I'm not crazy, but like I need to learn to ignore it. Cause like
Mm,
I remember like there was a lot of times, especially over where grandma lived, where I'd be sitting there and people are talking and I would see someone standing or walking or usually just standing in the kitchen area, just standing there, like on the corner of my eye. And like there's somebody there. But if I look over, it's gone. Like, but I see it.
whoa.
And it would happen so much. And I remember like we'd like watch like the news over at grandma's or whatever, on the TV, like
Mm-hmm.
visiting with her like late at night, but we're just watching TV. And it would happen the most with the lights kind of like dark and like whatever. And I would like watch it and I would even like see it. Usually when the lights were dark is when I could like see it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was light, I could only see it in my peripherals.
Hey, I think you have something
Something. But I remember
because
like
I've
talking to
heard,
Sherry about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's like spirits for sure." And like usually kids are being you can see it in your peripherals
yeah,
as a kid.
yeah.
And I'm like, I swear. And then like if it was only at the South Jordan house that I really had an issue with that, to where I had to just ignore it. And
There
like the
was
sitting on the
something in that
couch,
house. Yeah.
yeah, the sitting on the couch thing was in the living room, like that family room right there with the fireplace and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few times where I'd be like watching TV and to my right, I would sometimes see something and I'm like, there's somebody there. Like I can see it. But if I look over, then there's nothing. And I'm just like, okay.
That is so bizarre.
But then it would reappear and I'm like, yeah, I see it again. And I look and then it's not there. Like I sound crazy just talking about
No,
it. It makes
it's
me think,
but it is
but
like like I've heard the peripheral vision thing where it's like if you that's kind of where people start to notice that they have the gift,
right,
is like sensing that and then also seeing things in your peripheral but not fully.
right.
So that is so bizarre. I feel like
So
you have
bizarre.
something you need to tap into if you want to.
Yeah, maybe.
It's
I
one
feel
of
like I
those
want
things where it's
to.
like if it's not bothering you, why like explore it,
Yeah, right, right, right. Like it's fun to know about it, but like I don't know if I really want to like live with it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know the multi-use building
Yeah.
in Memorial Park, Memory Grove Park.
Yeah.
Okay, so people have said that they see like strange lights and then like seeing things in their peripherals
Mm,
in that area, either in the building or in that area of the building at
okay.
the park. Um, Around the parks, I didn't like go into exactly what ones they have, but they do have like war memorials throughout the whole park. Specifically, though, around the Korean War Memorial, there is a lot of phenomenon that happens around there. Like electronics tend to malfunction, and
Mm,
people have said that they've been tapped on the shoulder, like when they're walking by, and when they look, there's no one there.
Ugh.
It's said to be haunted by by the spirit of a woman in white.
Hmm.
And I read a story that was in the comment section of a YouTube video, which I didn't get much from the YouTube video, but I got a lot from the comment section. Someone named Andrew C. They said that they saw this woman in white. And this is what they said. I'm just going to read their comment.
Okay.
So they said, as we kept walking up the path, my friend was looking down at his feet while I was looking straight ahead. Suddenly, I saw a woman all in white run from the left of the path to the right and dart straight up the hill and go behind a tree. And it wasn't just a light skin and white clothes. If she wasn't a ghost, she had to be wearing the whitest makeup I've ever seen. Like her face glowed the color white. Same with the clothes, just a really white dress. I told my buddy what I saw and said I almost thought it was a large animal just because of how fast and easily it ran up the slope. But I know it was a woman. So we turned our flashlights on and walked up to behind the tree, expecting to find some teenagers playing a joke, but nothing was there.
Oh my gosh, that's spooky.
Mm-hmm. Especially
That
not to find anything, like no animal,
no, like
no person.
yeah, that's scary. But like I like his description of how easily it moved and how quickly up the hill. Because I feel like that tells you a lot where it's like, okay, it's not a normal human behavior or like a live human behavior, I guess.
Right. Like there's not really effort there.
Right.
You know?
So it's like, okay, well then what's the other explanation? What can move so easily up a hill that way?
Right.
And swiftly that way too. It's just like that sets a picture in my mind of like how it was moving. That's crazy.
Yeah, really though. So stories about this woman in white say that she's known to be drawn to the color purple. They say that if you wear the color purple, or if you have like purple balloons, a purple leash on your dog, a purple whatever, it's more likely that you may have an encounter with her. Employees of the park and those who work at the Memorial House or the Memorial House Reception Center see that the face of a woman will sometimes appear in the windows.
Ooh.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
It would be creepy to have it happen often enough that it's like, yeah, that happens sometimes. It's like, oh, like imagine having your shift and you just look over and you're like, oh, like
there she is.
like just a face.
That Josh hates windows. Like we right now, because of me redoing my bedroom, I broke the blinds. I told him I broke them, but I just hate them. So I just took them down and now they're broken. Okay, anyways. But I took them down and so now it's just curtains in our window, you know what I mean? And he's like, we need blinds. I'm gonna see faces in the window. We need blinds. Oh my gosh. So yeah, like we have to figure out blinds because he's freaked out about windows.
He's heard enough horror stories about it.
Well, when we lived in St. George and his apartment, he would see faces in his window at his apartment. And so that's why he hates windows.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's scary, especially if it's happened to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Legend goes that this woman in white was a bride-to-be, and before her wedding, she was walking down B Street. But you remember how like there's P Street? Well, there's B Street.
Okay. And all the other A,
right,
B,
the whole
C's.
alphabet. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Well, there's P Street. Well, there's also P.
Yeah.
I love that you go to P instead of A.
Like, well, no, I'm just mean because there's an episode we went to the cemetery.
Oh, like, right. We were on P Street.
Drove. Yeah. P Street.
I remember. I remember
we talked about it. We're like, huh. because we were on O Street, then we went to P Street. Like, oh, it's the whole alphabet. That's nice. Well, okay, we're talking about the B Street.
Okay.
So before her wedding, she was struck by a vehicle and she died on B Street, crossing the street. Some people say that that street is haunted by her spirit as well.
Oh, wow.
I've read a story where someone saw a woman cross the street. So she stopped and was like waiting for her, as you would for any pedestrian.
Yeah.
But a car to the left, even the left lane, just zoomed past and was gonna like hit the woman. So this woman telling the story, I guess, like flinched and looked away. And when she looked back, the woman that was crossing the street was gone. Because she thought she was gonna get hit by a car. She's like, "Oh my gosh, that car's not stopping."
Mm-hmm.
And so she went like this and looked back, and there's nobody there. And so obviously that car didn't see anybody there
because there wasn't anybody there. That's crazy.
Right? The manager of the building, the Memorial House Reception Center. The manager, her name's Dawn. She commented on a post in the Utah Haunted History Facebook page and said that the staff has done numerous solo and group paranormal investigations throughout the years, which I'm like, I'm so glad to hear that.
I know the manager's like in on it.
Yeah, that they are actually like wanting to find answers and like figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know.
Right.
What they've been able to narrow down. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah. What they've been able to narrow down is that there's a spirit named Gordon who likes to communicate using lights and electronics. One time they used a spirit box and they heard a man's voice come through that said, "Hi, here, Gordon." And using the spirit box, they also heard an older woman's voice come through and also say some things. Through all their investigations, Dawn said that they gathered that Gordon had talked a lot about helicopters and the word sun. So basically they concluded that he was in the Korean War and his spirit remained there because his mother had visited the memorial site. They also theorized that the older woman's voice is Gordon's mother, who's now passed on and is still coming to visit him.
Oh, at the memorial thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah,
like
that
a
is.
Spirit is visiting a spirit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
But cool. The staff just says that they always hear, or not always, but they often hear unexplainable footsteps and noises, voices, things like that. When researching Memory Grove Park, I kept finding comments and stories about an urban legend known as the Witch's Hut, aka the Witch's Cabin. You ever heard about this? Well, when you walk the path that goes deep into Memory Grove Park, it goes into like it's technically called the City Creek Natural Area. It's like more like natural path kind of stuff.
Okay.
Well, if you follow that path, eventually you'll stumble across a foundation of an old building or an old something.
Yeah, they have those all over the state sometimes, I swear.
Yeah, seriously though. Well, this one's like kind of like tucked back into the park, and so people just like made up a bunch of stories.
Yeah, as they do.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what is the real history of it, and then I'll tell you what is just it's people really saying. Ridiculous. But yeah. I just have to mention what is very popular of Memory Grove Park.
Yeah.
So historically, this foundation is of the old grist mill complex and the house that belonged to Samuel Sudbury. Samuel was a miller who was employed by Brigham Young, and the mill was built in 1862, and its main purpose was to grind the tithing wheat, which is 10% of a Mormon farmer's harvest. So with all the tithing wheat, they produced about 100 sacks of flour per day, which I think is a ton.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of wheat that those farmers gave up.
in just tithing. That's just free wheat.
Mm-hmm.
In May of 1883, the mill burned to the ground. Nearly everything was unsalvageable, but what they could reuse was sent to the Chase Mill at Liberty Park. So shout out to episode 35.
Mm.
Over time, the ruins have just been slowly crumbling, but you can still see quite a bit that's still left. And now, because the history wasn't interesting enough, there's been stories that made up about the foundation, and that people say that it was a witch's house or a witch's cabin. What keeps the story alive is that at the top of this like granite rubble staircase, I don't know if it's granite really, but a rubble staircase.
Uh-huh.
At the very top of it, there's this weird slab altar
Oh,
thing. Like it's just an altar. And then nearby, there's a plaque that says it's a memorial spot for Captain James B. Austin, who died in World War One. But it's like there's a plaque, and then there's this altar. So it's just like,
that's exact. Well, kind of tells you what it
yeah.
is.
I mean, it's just like a slab. It's just like a almost like a counter height piece of cement.
That's weird.
That
Is he
lays
buried in it?
horizontally. No, I don't think so. And then
Interesting.
people also say that it has blood stains on it. So that's what keeps the whole story alive. That like, oh, it's a witch's hut or witch's cabin because there's altars, and
I
like the
wouldn't put
story
it
that they
past
tell you isn't
teenagers to
true,
prick their finger and just put their blood on it to make it.
right? To make a what is it, a coven,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. So that area though, like that whole rubble-less area, is loaded with stories of paranormal activity.
Hmm.
Like mentioned before, people have taken photos and seen apparitions of people in their backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the people that they see are faceless.
Oh.
But I did see a story of someone taking a photo of their children sitting on the staircase.
Mm-hmm.
And later, when they looked at the picture, they saw like an overlay of a woman sitting with them. And this woman was looking directly at the camera. They had all facial features and everything. And she was wearing Victorian clothing.
Jeez.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Oh my gosh.
In this area, people have heard disembodied voices and even seen light orbs. In the Utah Haunted History Facebook page, someone said that one time they and their friend took a walk through Memorial Park when a strange man approached them and they started talking to them. She said something felt off about him but couldn't really figure out what it was in the moment. But later that night, she woke up in the middle of the night just suddenly, and she had this intense feeling that somebody was in her room. And so she looked around and nobody was there, so she fell back asleep. The next morning, she woke up and she told her friend about that. Turns out he also had an experience where he woke up to the sound of someone knocking on his bedroom door, and he lives alone. The
Hell
end.
no. That feeling, that made my freaking heart fall to my butt. The feeling of like someone being in your room and not
Yeah.
seeing anyone. Oh my gosh, that's so scary. That's a terrifying feeling. But
Well, and it's
inside your
like that
house,
man that like approached them and like started talking to them, and she's like, something's off about you, and then has those weird experiences later. It's like, what was that about?
right?
Like, was it connected? Was it not? But how do they both have the
Or
same
was
experience
he
at
a
the same
ghost
time?
that they both were
Right.
talking to?
Mhm. And followed them both home
I don't like that. That's bad juju. Or maybe he had bad juju. He was a real person.
somehow.
He had
Right.
bad things and they just followed them home.
Yeah, so that could be true crime or paranormal. You choose. That's your choose your own adventure kind of ending.
Yeah. That's crazy. Good story. I like that one.
Thanks.
Too bad we couldn't have gone.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that we did, but I was like, oh, yeah, we're too busy this
Well, just
week.
life
Next
is
time.
so busy. Life is so expensive. How does anybody
Yeah.
live anymore? You
How do
know?
people work 40 hours? It freaking sucks. That's what I want to know.
Right? And then how do they like get shit done
How
on
do
top of
they,
it?
yeah, how do they get shit done and also stay like excited for Monday? You know?
I don't
Like
think that's a
tomorrow's
thing.
gonna happen, and I'm just like, does it have to happen?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think that's a thing though.
hmm.
Oy.
Should we
Well,
do an outro?
yeah, thanks for listening to episode 43. Hope you liked it.
Yeah.
We'll get it
Thank
to you
you.
on time.
We sure will.
It's my birthday, so
Yeah.
uh
Celebrate.
celebrate. Have a I don't know, have a drink with me, on me, not me,
What's your
not on me.
favorite alcoholic drink?
I feel like it's such a basic white girl drink though.
Can I guess what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it a, hold on.
I don't know if you'll guess it.
Is it,
So maybe it's not basic.
the breakfast drink, right?
Oh, mimosa?
Mimosa. Yeah.
No, that's not my favorite, but I do
Oh.
like those. My favorite is a Sex on the Beach.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
Yeah. Just I have never not liked it. It's never been too much or whatever.
Mm.
It's just my go-to.
Yeah, that's good.
Because
I'm more
like
of I like what is it called? Vodka Red Bull.
yeah, but I don't know what's in a Sex on the Beach, but I always order it and I always like it.
Yeah, that's good.
Because margaritas, like too much sugar, they make my stomach hurt. And then,
Margaritas usually don't have enough sugar for me. Too sour.
well, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. There's something in it that makes my stomach hurt. And then, like a dirty Dr. Pepper is fine, but I think the one I always enjoy is a Sex on the Beach. So enjoy a Sex on the
Ooh.
Beach on my birthday,
Yeah, have a sex on the beach for April.
with or without
Cheers.
the alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, what's your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Dr. Pepper, plain old Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
You're like,
So
never mind.
follow us on social media, join our Patreon, and tell your family and friends about us and tell them to listen too.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
that's all.
All right. I'm fine with it.
Happy birthday, April.
Thanks.
Yep.
Mm.
Mm,
Okay, bye.
bye.